Hello everyone and welcome to the third part of this jellyfish model course. Moving on with our jellyfish, we are now going to mold the body, the top part. So go to the body, right click and select Current State to Object. Delete the previous one. Go to the deformer we used before, Displacer, and place it inside. Raise this slightly and in fall off select Box. Scale the box a little. Now in shading, we'll apply a gradient. Go inside here and in type select 2dV. You'll see that this little bump is formed here. Well, you just need to keep adjusting this. Right click and as you can see, let's join these points here. Right click and double knots. We'll go adding points and this way we'll get this bump thanks to the gradients without having modeled anything at all. And remember, this is completely editable. You could even try adding some more points, but the effect would be too exaggerated, so I think it's best to leave it like this. Go back and go to the displacer. Go inside shader and here you see there are two layers. So we're going to modify from the gradient in itself. Put a 70 in turbulence and now we'll adjust the general scale of the cube. Scale it and that way we exaggerate the effect we have on the body. Go back to the displayer and lower this gradient. Go in and modify the turbulence, put it up to 100. Again in shader and here in gradient, see how in the layer we can lower the opacity to achieve this effect. We've given the gradient a turbulence, but on the layer we've put a 6% opacity. That way the effect is subtle. Now you're getting the hang of the material editor. I lower this to 6 and again in Displacer, Shader, inside the gradients look for Surface and select Water. Lower the opacity of this layer, and now if you want you can add more details by adjusting the values. Basically, you can do whatever you want and investigate how this all works. Remember that you can always modify the opacity without any problems. Apply a subdivision surface and lower it to the body. Place a lathe inside the subdivision surface. Okay. See how the mesh changes. Put the subdivision of the editor down to 1 and just try out which position looks best. Scale it and again see what shape you like more. Once the shape is defined, go again to Displacer and add some more points. This way we get more detail. We can also change the seat, the angle. We have all this here, the body, and we can give it all a name. Displacer, what we'll do is group all these tentacles and hair elements. So right-click and group objects. Now name the elements so everything is organized. Okay, now what we're going to do is make another body that will go inside the main body. To do this, go to the right view and make a cube just like before that will act as a guide. Hide the rest of the elements and with a spline we'll make the shape of the second body. This is completely free, you can make the shape however you like, or you can copy me. Now adjust the points towards the center. And this, as I said, will be the interior of the jellyfish. We'll do the same as we did earlier. Go here, put the spline inside the lathe, and remember to go here to cloth surface, and then place the lathe inside that cloth surface. Delete the cube and let's see the shape we have. Go to the cloth surface properties and adjust the thickness. Make all the elements visible again so you can see how it looks together. And lower this a little, scale. Find a position that looks good and that makes sense. You can take the spline and modify the points too to adjust those areas that look strange. Make this bigger inside and now bring it out a bit more. Okay, do the same for this point. We need to give it some properties, so take the displacer and put it inside the cloth surface like we did before. Hide this again so we can see what we are doing. And here remember the procedure we followed before. Go to the shader, apply a gradient, go inside it, change to 2dV, and here add these points. Right-click to add more points. Notice that there are some errors in the mesh. Some surfaces are overlapping others. Even if we adjust the thickness, it still happens. To fix this, lower the thickness to 0 and go to the spline to adjust and simplify the points. Take these points here and remove them. Now these ones here. Place them in the middle. This way we simplify the body slightly. Make these objects visible. Make the perspective larger and let's see if there's anything else we need to modify or if the shape's okay. Increase the subdivision level of the cloth surface and now we can take the box. The box of the displacer to see if we achieve any effect by moving it, or if we leave it like that. Make all the elements visible. Now in display, select Garage Shading to see all the whole piece without the lines of the mesh. I think we've achieved the inside of the jellyfish, so we can now move on. Let's name this appropriately. Put it down here just to tidy up the workspace. Now we make a null object and place all our components inside it. Go inside here and set the count to 50. In segments, leave it at 12 and go to guides. So 12 in segments, and let's see how it looks. You could put it up to 24. Render. Now let's try 50 and render. Let's see. Okay, maybe that's too much, so we leave it at 25. Go to hair, set it to 50, and I think that's fine. It now has enough tentacles, I think, so we're going to keep this shape. Go to Hair and select Current State to Object. Save the previous hair anyway, just in case you want to make any changes later. So we'll open the main null object now. Go to this tentacle here and remove it from our group of null objects. I'm doing this because I want to work on the shape of this tentacle separately, using the points. So hide all the components of the tentacle to see it properly. And here in Spline, we'll select the points so we can adjust the shape. For example, we can move this point here over to the left. Just trying to alter the shape of the tentacle a little bit. Raise this one. Okay, make the null visible, and as you can see, the shape has changed a bit. Now it looks better. Let's place the object back inside the null object. Okay, so we can fold all of this up, the null object, so basically the jellyfish, and the next thing we're going to do is place a camera. Go to the camera's view and go here to Coordinates. Rotate the camera a little, so it's in this position approximately. Now right-click on the camera, Cinema Tags Protection. This helps the camera to stay in its position. Let's see how it looks. Here you can see that the tentacles are cut off a bit. So take the null and raise it so you can see all the body of the jellyfish. Great! Now you can see the whole body along with the tentacles. So we leave it there for this lesson, and in the next lesson we'll start preparing the scene. See you there!